Hey there, Laurel here. I'm coming to you from my son's closet. I am hiding out in the closet. I totally am, so I can get this voiceover done because everywhere I went, kids followed. You got to find your place, and it seems the closet's my place. All right, so I'm going to make this card in today's video. I am using lots of products from the Essentials by Ellen line because Ellen Hudson has a sale going on this weekend in celebration of Mother's Day here in the States. So stay with me, and there'll be a discount code at the end of the video here. You can save 20% off any in-stock item that Ellen Hudson carries. Not Ellen Hudson brands, but any in-stock item that the store carries. So keep that in mind. All right, now earlier this week I already blogged 3 cards for Mother's Day. So this is kind of another one that you can totally use for Mother's Day if you want to, because it's the sentiment I'm using here says, "You are my person." And I first came across that phrase from Grey's Anatomy. Do you guys watch Grey's Anatomy, where Christina and Meredith, they're each other's person? So I think it's fun. Totally could be used for your mom or your friend or whatever, your kids. This is the Watercolored Hydrangea stamp set here. I'm going ahead and using my mini Misty here. So I mounted my hydrangea on the cardstock where I wanted it to be, picked it up with the door of the Misty. I inked it with some white pigment ink from the Ton, sprinkling on some white embossing powder and heat setting. Did that all make sense? I feel like I said that fast. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and heat set that here. And then I'm taking the sentiment from the Mondo Magnolia stamp set that says, "You are my person." I'm going to again place it on my cardstock. I've got my magnets holding my cards in place. I'm going to place my sentiment where I want it. I'm going to get that hydrangea out of the way. I'm going to press down the door of the Misty to pick up the stamp. And then I'm going to use some smoky gray pigment ink from VersaFine here. I wanted to use a nice charcoal gray. I'm going to give it a little double stamp here, which I can do with the Misty easily because it's perfect placement every time. Then I'll go ahead and sprinkle on some clear embossing powder and then heat set it. You can do this with pigment inks because they stay wet longer. You're able to do some heat embossing if you wanted to. Now it's time to work on that flower there. So I decided to go ahead and take the coordinating die and cut out that hydrangea. Just cut it out of the card for now. And then I'm going to watercolor using my Gansai Watercolors here. I'm going to use 2 different shades of pink. So for me, I just take a water mister and I just spray my card. You can use a paintbrush and apply a wash of water if you want, but I just sprayed the mess out of that panel. So now I'm just dropping in the color here and there, doing absolutely no blending. I'm simply dropping in the color because the water does all of the blending for me. It's fantastic. This is why you see me typically turn to watercolor more often than Copic markers, just because this work, it's the water, it does it all for you. Plus, I'm not that good with the Copic markers. All right, so I set that aside to let that dry, and now I'm going to work on the panel there. This is a stencil from the Crafter's Workshop and some fossilized amber distress ink. And I am blending the ink through the stencil with the Clarity stencil brush. Now, all the supplies that I do use are listed below in the YouTube description as well as my blog and more pictures. So if you're interested in any of the specific supplies I use, be sure to check it out here. So after I go through and add this or lay the ink down through the stencil to have that pattern on my background with the Clarity stencil brush, which I tend to use a lot when I use stencils. I like it because I'm so heavy-handed with the Ranger foam applicators, which I'm about to use here. So I like using those Clarity brushes through the stencil because it feels like I can get control better and I'm not adding down so much ink. I wanted kind of an airy feel with the pattern here. And now I'm just going around the edges with some squeezed lemonade distress ink, and I'm using a blending tool for that. And now it's time to just pull the entire card together here. Now I sit down and I never have a plan. Sometimes I go on Pinterest and I look at a bunch of cards that are popping up on my wall, and I see something I like and I'm inspired by that, and then I sit down and make something. But more times than none, I have no plan whatsoever. I don't know why. I find if I have a plan and I sit down, I stress myself out if it doesn't come out how I want it, So I just find, it's just easier for me, no pressure, to just sit down and just go with it. I have an iPad playing off to the side here. I think I'm watching Private Practice now on my iPad, and that's kind of what works for me. So I went ahead and adhered that panel down flat to a white card base there. And I have a lot of pattern paper. Do you guys have a lot of pattern paper? I never ever use it. So I found some white or yellow polka dotted paper, or yellow paper with white polka dots. And I decided to line the inside of my card with that paper because why not? I have it. I never use it. cute little surprise for the recipient. It goes with the front. I don't know. Why not? All right, so now I'm going to take that stenciled panel there and I'm going to adhere that flat down to my card base. And then it's time to work on the flower, and then we're done. We're done. I put some double-sided foam dimension on the back of that flower so I can pop my flower up just a little bit. And I let it dry naturally, so I love the depth of colors, the different colors that you got. That's just from 2 colors of the watercolors. Now, before I adhere that down, I realized, hey, I forgot to do something there with that top left-hand corner there. It's completely stark white. So at first I went and took the stencil down, and then I realized that stencil's not going to show. It's just going to look like I just didn't completely blend in some yellow. So I decided to take the squeezed lemonade there and just put some yellow down. And now I'll press my flower down into place. And then I'll go around with the Ranger foam blending one more time with that squeezed lemonade. This is some Perfect Pearls mixtured spray. It's the Perfect Pearls powder mixed with water. And I just sprayed that onto my flower to give my flower some shine. I was careful not to move it around too much because I didn't want to reactivate my watercolors. And then that's it. We're done. The card is finished. So there's going to be a discount that's only going to run through tomorrow, May 8th, in celebration of Mother's Day. Remember, it's 20% off any in-stock purchase over at the Ellen Hudson store. So be sure to check it out. And any other questions or any more pictures or anything, head on over to my blog, laurelbeard.org, and check it out. And there'll be links to supplies and some more pictures of the cards. Thanks so much for joining me today. And for all the moms out there, happy Mother's Day. I'm a mom. It's really hard work, but it's such a blessing to me. And my mom, I just love her to pieces, and I love her to bits, and she's my best friend. And I know that there's a lot of you that are struggling. You know, my best friend lost her mother last year, and I know a lot of you are struggling on this day as well. So just know that I'm thinking of all of you. And I'll see you for our next video. Bye-bye.